I'm feeling sorry for Karen. Apparently there's a Karen out there somewhere. I don't know who it is, but my wife told me that there's a Karen who's raised a storm. She's marched into a Bunnings store and, apparently with the deliberate intention of challenging the idea that she has to wear a mask during coronavirus. I don't know who she is. I don't know the issue, all that sort of stuff. I've just heard about it. But the one thing that I have gathered is that, because I'm not on social media or anything, and lately I haven't even been on media much, I just sit in my shed. No Facebook, no Twitter, no nothing. My head is so clear. But anyway, I hear things anyway. I get texts. Not anti-text. And my wife chats to me about things. And she told me there's a Karen out there who has decided to go public with the idea that you shouldn't have to wear a mask. Now, in my YouTube clips, I don't get into debates at all. In fact, just as likely to argue the thing that is the opposite to the thing I think. If I'm in the mood, it doesn't matter about my opinions. Who cares about my opinions? And I really think that. In fact, my opinions don't even care to me, because there's a lot of people who are smarter than me, and I'm more interested in what they think. That's a fact, I really am. I listen to others. Something out there, maybe a chicken. Okay, so that's that. Anyway, I've heard about this Karen. Now, I think she has marched into Bunnings, and she's decided to take on the world in a physical way. I think people do that in a social media way. They get on social media and they rant. But she's done it live in public. Well, I think we all expect it on social media, but sometimes people are doing things on social media and they pick that up and they take it to Bunnings and do it for real. I would lay odds that she's saying things that a lot of people are saying on social media, but she's getting smashed in the public domain, from what I've heard. Look, my wife's a lawyer for what it's worth, and they're enjoying the whole episode because she made a whole lot of claims about it's her human rights and all that sort of stuff, and it's it's a law, and you have no jurisdiction to stop me, to force me to wear a mask. You have to let me into this Bunnings, and all that sort of stuff. And all the lawyers are having fun. Oh wow, this is good fun. All right, okay. Now the human rights thing, is that a law? Is that not a law? And all that sort of stuff. Okay, there is a law saying that you can't impede people, but Bunnings has a right to refuse entry to anyone they want because it's a private premises and all that sort of stuff. The lawyers are having fun with all that stuff. So apparently she was wrong on just about everything she said, But the point is, in her mind, she was right, and probably amongst her echo chamber, she was right. But the lawyers, they don't care. The lawyers I heard about who are chatting about this thing, they don't care about the actual issue. They sometimes these lucky breaks come along and give lawyers an opportunity to say, all right, she's saying but in ordinary circumstances, yes, because she said it's discrimination and it's not, but I don't know why, and she said it's discrimination, on the basis that she's a woman, and apparently it's not, and so on. But the lawyers get to chat about all that. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't understand all of that. Anyway, and civil liberties and all that sort of stuff, and it wasn't an infringement on civil liberties, apparently, because in times like a coronavirus, for example, the government had your civil liberties drop. You've got less of them. But she's I think lawnmower. You know, and she's quoting all these things that would apply if there wasn't a coronavirus on, and so on and so forth. But there is one on, you know, so emergency measures kick into place and all that sort of stuff, you know. And police have got extra powers, for example. Police can do things right now that they couldn't a while ago and all that sort of stuff. And if it gets any worse, if things get worse, the police can have extraordinary powers. You know, they can arrest you without trial. Arrest you without something, you know, whatever. You know, and lock you up. They can arrest you, you know, and lock you up for a year before charging you, you know. Now, they can't right now, but, you know, if things got a bit more crazy in the world, they could. You know, and it wouldn't be an infringement on your technical civil liberties and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, Karen, she's gone to Bunnings and she's done a Facebook rant live and filmed herself, I think, doing it. Now, she's doing nothing that millions of people aren't doing, but she was probably a little bit silly doing it live, because we don't really take all that social media stuff seriously. You know, it's all so much noise, you know. But when someone does it live, it's one world picking itself up and planting itself into the real world, you know, and then it gets funny, you know. But so she's gone on a big rant, and all of it's wrong, all of that, whatever. But apparently, you know, whereas I find that vaguely amusing, and I would have just, you know, well, like the lawyers found it amusing that I know about, and you know, and as someone who just sees the funny side of things, I thought it was funny, but not something to be taken seriously, really. Look, I suppose if I was a health professional, I would, because, you know, you'd make her a test case, you know, because she's the extreme case for all the idiots to do that sort of thing. Oh yeah, all right, I can see that. So if you're a lawyer, you wouldn't care. But if you're a medical professional or an epidemiologist or a politician trying to control this coronavirus, you would care. It depends who you are. But if you're in your shed, you just see, oh, that's vaguely amusing. Now, you know, Facebook has hit the streets. That's what you would call it. Facebook has hit the streets, and you start to find that fascinating. And would, you know, in the era, look, we had nut jobs galore before social media, but do nut jobs express themselves in a slightly different way nowadays, you know, compared to the way they used to? I don't know. And if they do, then that's the effect of social media. You know, one more effect of social media. But this Karen, now me sitting in my shed, what was my reaction overall? You know, because she's getting smashed. This Karen, she's getting smashed. Karen's not her real name. That's a new term that means anyone who's a bit stupid, I think. Which is a bit sad for anyone named Karen. Yeah, that's like if your name was ISIS, you know, before Islamic State hit. You know, that's just bad luck when that sort of stuff happens, you know. You know, my name is 9/11, my real name, you know, and I was devastated in 2001. But anyway, people do that. Rappers, actually, they name themselves as numbers and all sorts of things. Rappers have got, you know, you could call yourself 9/11 if you're a rapper. I'm surprised no one has yet. You know, when there's someone called, there's people with all sorts of funny names as rappers. Anyway, back to Karen. In my shed, and I had the, you know, my reaction was different than, you know, look, I care about masks and all. Yeah, I reckon everyone should wear a mask. You know, but for the purposes of this YouTube clip, it's not in scope. You know, that's something, the whole world's thinking about that stuff. I don't have an opinion. I do have an opinion as my real self, but this is not my real self. You know, this is a different person here. You know, this is Charlie. you know, this fake name I make up, so that I can think of things in different ways. And, you know, like if I was my real self, like, oh, that Karen, you know, I'm very angry at her because we all need to wear masks, otherwise the coronavirus is going to spread and we're all going to die and I'm going to die. Yeah, that's how my real person, you know, my real self thinks. But if you want to elevate yourself above the weight of your own grey matter, punch above your weight, if you like. If you want to elevate yourself, don't go around being yourself all the time, and because that's just one-dimensional. You know, sometimes be someone who doesn't care about coronavirus, for the purposes of thinking of things from another perspective. You know, it doesn't mean look, Charlie here. He's an amoral bastard. You know, as you're watching him. Now the real me, he's called Damien actually. He's not such a bastard as this Charlie is. You know, I could easily be saying here, and you say, oh, look what Damien said. But no, this is the art of aliasing. It's not, I'm not a common troll. You know, I'm playing the ancient noble game of aliasing. And Charlie here, he's sitting in his shed, and he's thinking, all right, what do I think of Karen, says Charlie, not Damien. What does Charlie think? And Charlie thinks this. That's, you know, like, have a innocent till proven guilty. What am I thinking? I'm thinking of Kanye West. Recently he came out and said atrocious things. And he was having an episode. Now this is important. He was having an episode, and I think vaguely, you know what Charlie thinks about that is cut him some slack. He was in the middle of an episode. He said some terrible things, you know, stuff that was private between him and his wife and all that sort of stuff. It was awful. So my two thoughts are, look, cut him some slack, have a bit of sympathy. You know, he was having some bipolar episode. You know, that's what my goddaughter told me. She knows about him more than I do. And I said, all right, well, you know, don't judge him too harshly on what he's just said and done in the public domain. And it was massive what he did. Huge, much bigger than what this Karen's done. You know, a rant in front of billions of people, but you know, he was in the middle of a psychotic, some sort of mental illness. I don't understand mental illness at all, but he was in the middle of it. I'm prepared to accept that he was in the middle of some sort of episode, and I'm prepared to cut him some slack. Yeah, and at the same time, I'm you know, you can have more than one thought at once. And Charlie thinks that also. Whew, glad we saw that before we made him president. You know, don't make him president. You know, now that's not discrimination against, you know, people with mental health issues, but you don't want to give them the suitcase, you know, with the nuclear bomb button in it. You know, it's not discrimination. It's just smart. You know, don't let people with mental illnesses. Don't have a system where people with mental illnesses can become your president. If that president has the power to declare war unilaterally, you know, which a president has in America, you know, don't let people with mental illnesses become president. Don't give them the button. And that's not discrimination. Well, it is. Now that's funny, isn't it? Discrimination is not always bad. But you know, my bipolar thought, my double thought is have some sympathy from Kanye. Don't judge him too harshly on what he has said. And that kind, you know, until you've sort of worked out whether, you know, whether that's the real Kanye or not that has said that, you know, and also don't give him the button, you know. Now, so then, you know, this is the way Charlie thinks. You know, Damien, he might think, nah, there's no excuse because he's a pig, you know. But Charlie's a lot nicer than Damien. And this is how you get to step outside your own sort of context. This is how you get to punch above your weight. This is about how you know, I'm a woman in another forum. I did some writing and I did some podcasting as a woman, but I used this voice. The voice, I'm not good at voices. You know, I could have put on a fake voice, but they're hard. And I find it hard to put on a fake face as well, you know. But I was still a woman, you know. It's a way of stepping outside your own context. It's not nuts. It's not bipolar. Might be. In multipolar. Look, it's about punching above your own weight. Anyway, so my thoughts on Karen. What does Charlie think of Karen? Well, that woman, by the way, whom I mentioned, she was about 60, and she was pretty wealthy, and she was a damned racist. She was an out-and-out racist. She actually emigrated from South Africa to here. She was an immigrant from South Africa. She's a racist, But, at least I got to feel like, I got to feel what it feels like to be a racist old woman. And I found that interesting. Anyway, so that's a whole other story. Now, Karen. My feelings towards her, well, here's the thing. What Charlie thinks is he doesn't know who the hell she is. I have no idea who she is. So I wouldn't get on, Charlie wouldn't get on social media and start berating her, personally. I'd probably berate people who say things like that. But my feeling is that, I think there are millions of people just smashing her. You silly, bitch. Blah, blah, blah. Just going for it, full-on attack. It's a real-world version of what people do on social media, see? Same thing again. Because that's what people do on social media. They just go bang, 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 bang like crazy, and say the most outrageous things, but it's all a tree falling in the forest for the rest of us when people do that on social media, because we can't hear it. We people who aren't on social media, we can't hear it. But occasionally, that world comes out here. And of course, we've always been able to do this. In ancient Rome, we had this. We didn't need Twitter in ancient Rome for people to go hammer and tongs at each other. But the point is, social media seems to do it in a certain way. And when someone like this, Karen, which is not her real name either anyway, comes along and does it in public, and then everyone starts smashing her in reverse, and I heard about that. That was probably mostly on social media, but it's also in the mainstream, apparently. My feeling is, well, she's been a bit of a Kanye. Karen's been a Kanye. Has she not? And just before, in my head, I smash her personally. I still smash her ideas personally, because her ideas were pretty insane, and I bet they came across in her echo chamber as absolutely making sense, because that's what happens in echo chambers, whether they're left, right, or indifferent. Everyone talks amongst themselves, and they all are convinced that they're making perfect sense, and And if what she did at Bunnings the other day was pretty much vocalise what her whole echo chamber has been saying amongst themselves, she piled about 20 complex legal and so on civil rights ideas into a soliloquy, and she got them all wrong. She didn't get one thing right. She got it all wrong. She said, for this reason and that reason and this reason and that reason and the other reason and the other reason and the other reason, you've got no jurisdiction, blah, 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 and the police can't arrest me and you can't touch me and I'm going to walk in here and you can't stop me, blah, blah, blah. And she gave all these really well thought out answers, as to, why she was doing the right thing. She got them all wrong, apparently. All of them. Not even one. And no doubt she's got a whole lot of friends on Facebook saying, you are so smart, See this, and she could be smart. She could be smart, but she got into the wrong echo chamber. So you can be smart and have all the wrong ideas. I think that's possible, actually. That's not the scope of this episode. But my feeling on this person, not her ideas wickety whack, but my feeling about the person is, go easy on her. That's what Charlie thinks. Go easy on her. She might be having, she could even be having an episode. Don't destroy her. And what does it do to a human? And I'm talking about the individual person who is being smashed here. Her ideas, smash away, But don't smash her too hard. How do you know she's not having a bipolar episode? How do you know she didn't accidentally just get caught in the wrong echo chamber with people more influential than her, and they all fed her these ideas as fact. And how do you know that she hasn't essentially and effectively been brainwashed, by Facebook or something? She's in the wrong echo chamber, and whole lot of people smarter than her. Maybe she's not so smart, you see, and they filled her head with wrong thoughts, dumb thoughts, and then she went and vocalised them. You could, in that case, you could smash her for being a bit of an idiot, in vocalising stuff that smarter people wouldn't, because on Facebook there's a whole lot of people saying, oh, blah, 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 but they would never say it in public because they're kind of smart and they know that they're nuts. What they're saying is nuts. They're just I think it's a game, a little bit. It's a place to rant. It's like when you're at the footy, it's a place to go, boo, don't you touch Timmy, and all that sort of stuff. It's a place to do that. Gets it off your chest, But there are people that take that stuff seriously. When they're in an echo chamber, they take that stuff seriously. And, they say the same things that everyone around them is saying, all the smarter people, and they pick that up and they go and say that at Bunnings, and then all the smarter people will go, whoop, we'll distance us, we'll distance ourselves from her. She said it at Bunnings. She's supposed to say it only in our echo chamber. What was she thinking? And then she goes back to them, hey guys, I said everything you said. I say, yeah, look, we're just unfriending you right now. Yeah. So, my feeling on poor Karen, don't judge her too quickly. It's my feeling. You do whatever you want, Go and, get yourself a mob together with pitchforks and torches and go to her house, burn it down with her in it. And that's the amoral side of Charlie. I'm not telling you how to think, but, Charlie says that in his mind, he's saying, hey, go easy. She could be my auntie. I haven't actually checked who she is. Maybe I'll get on there later and I'll say, I'll say to my wife, can I get a photo of this Karen, whoever she is? Now, it could be my auntie who's a perfectly, some auntie, I think she was about my age. It could be one of my cousins who's a perfectly lovely person, It's just had an off day. Should have kept her thoughts to herself. That could happen. And she could be a lovely person. And how does that feel when your entire community, millions of people smash you all at once? She might commit suicide, as a result of the hounding, and she might have gone to Bunnings fully believing that she was in the right. She was in the wrong, but go easy on her. I'm thinking, don't be too hasty. She could be in a Kanye kind of situation, not necessarily a bipolar sort of, I doubt that maybe she wasn't having a bipolar episode or something. But she might have. There might be other reasons why she went on that rant and said all the wrong things. It may be possible that she's also a good person. Go easy on her. Go and have a chat to her before you smash her. Smash her ideas, but stop hounding her as a person. And that's what Charlie thinks. I don't know what Damien would think, or that racist old woman that I am sometimes. I don't know what she'd think either. She'd probably like her because she was white.